Ryan had been planning this day for weeks. He wasn't rich, just a hard-working mechanic who saved every penny he could. When Emma, a kind and elegant teacher, finally said yes to going out with him, he wanted it to be perfect. But his budget couldn't stretch to fancy restaurants or candlelit rooftop dinners. Instead, he chose a small diner at the edge of town, the kind with squeaky booths, neon lights, and waitresses who called everyone, "Hun." He worried she might think it was too cheap, but it was all he could afford, and his heart hoped she'd see his sincerity instead of the price tag. Emma arrived wearing a simple blue dress, her smile soft but curious. She'd expected something different, maybe a more polished place. Still, when Ryan opened the door for her and nervously brushed off his jacket, she saw something genuine in his eyes, the kind of nervous excitement that can't be faked. They sat in a red booth by the window, the jukebox humming an old love song in the corner. The diner smelled of coffee and pancakes, and though it wasn't fancy, there was warmth in the air. Ryan apologized softly, "I know it's not much, but this place means something to me." Emma tilted her head. "Means something to you?" she asked. Ryan smiled, his fingers tracing the edge of his coffee mug. "Yeah, my mom used to bring me here after her night shifts. She'd buy one plate and we'd share. It wasn't about the food, it was about being together." Emma's heart softened instantly. The story wasn't rehearsed or exaggerated, it was real, and it carried a kind of honesty money couldn't buy. She began to see the diner not as a cheap place but as a memory, a piece of his life he was choosing to share with her. As they talked, time slipped away unnoticed. The waitress, an older woman with silver hair, smiled knowingly every time she passed. Emma and Ryan shared stories, about his late mother, her dreams of teaching kids how to believe in themselves, their fears, and little victories. The diner, with its flickering lights and chipped plates, became a small world of laughter and connection. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping gently against the glass, wrapping them in an even cozier silence. When Ryan excused himself to the restroom, Emma noticed something strange. The waitress brought over their check, but instead of handing it to her, she whispered, "You've got yourself a good man there. You know what he did?" Emma blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" The woman smiled kindly. "He came in early today. Said he wanted to prepay for the meal, but asked us to make it look like a normal bill. He didn't want you to think he was trying to impress you, but he wanted to make sure you had a good time, no matter what." Emma's eyes softened. She looked toward the restroom door, feeling her heart swell with something she hadn't felt in a long time, genuine affection. Ryan didn't try to show off, he didn't pretend to be someone else. He simply wanted to make her happy, even if it meant quietly paying in advance. She smiled, realizing that sometimes, the smallest gestures reveal the biggest hearts. When Ryan returned, she didn't say anything at first. Instead, she leaned closer, her smile more radiant than before. "You know," she said, "I think this might be the nicest dinner I've ever had." Ryan laughed shyly, thinking she was being polite. But she wasn't. For Emma, it wasn't about the place, it was about the feeling of being cared for, something she'd been missing since her last heartbreak. Hours passed. The diner's lights dimmed as the night grew deeper. The waitress poured them one last cup of coffee, on the house. Ryan reached into his pocket to tip her generously, but she waved it off. "It's on me, sweetheart. You remind me of someone I used to know." Her eyes glistened with memories she didn't share. As they left, the rain had stopped, and the world felt newly washed, like life was quietly giving them a fresh start. Outside, Ryan walked Emma to her car. He offered her his jacket, though he was clearly cold himself. She hesitated before taking it, looking into his eyes. "Ryan," she said softly, "you didn't have to do all this. I would have liked you even if we'd just walked in the park." He smiled, embarrassed. "I know. But I just wanted to make sure you'd have a good memory tonight." Emma's heart melted completely. As she started her car, Ryan waved goodbye, thinking that was the end of it. But Emma rolled down her window and called out, "Hey! Next time, dinner's on me." Ryan grinned. "You mean there'll be a next time?" "There better be," she laughed, and drove off into the night, leaving him standing in the glow of the diner's neon sign, heart full, hands trembling, smile wide. The next morning, Emma couldn't stop smiling at work. Her coworkers teased her about the cheap diner date, but she didn't care. They didn't know the tenderness behind it. That night, she texted Ryan, same diner. Friday. My treat. He couldn't believe it, no one had ever appreciated him like that before. When Friday came, Emma arrived early this time. She brought a small flower she'd placed in a mason jar, a touch of beauty for the table. When Ryan arrived, his eyes widened. You decorated our table. She laughed, it's our spot now. The waitress, watching from afar, smiled. She'd seen many couples come and go, but something about these two felt rare, unpretentious, and true. As the months passed, the diner became their sanctuary. Every anniversary, they'd return to the same booth, order the same meal, and talk for hours. Other customers began to notice them, the couple that always laughed too much, held hands across the table, and tipped generously. The old waitress often said, "That's what love looks like, not diamonds, not fancy dinners, but warmth that never fades." Years later, the diner changed owners. On their wedding day, Ryan surprised Emma by taking her back there. The new owner had kept their booth reserved, with a small plaque that read, "Where Love Began." Emma cried as they sat down in the same spot where it all started, the cheap diner that had given them everything money couldn't buy. And as they raised their glasses of lemonade, Ryan whispered, "You know, this place was never cheap. It was priceless." The waitress smiled, the jukebox played their favorite song, and for a moment, the world outside didn't matter. What began as a humble first date had turned into a lifelong story of love, gratitude, and the beauty of seeing value not in the price, but in the person beside you.